I don't know what's more confusing, learning astrology or just being a human. Moonday Musings is here to help with that. A weekly, no bullshit guide for the upcoming cosmic forecast and how you can actually use this in your real life. Hello, neighbor. Happy Monday, my friend. Happy Moonday. And welcome back to another episode of Moonday Musings here at That Witch Podcast. If you have never been here before, Happy New Year. Happy 2026. Hi, I'm Danny. Welcome. I'm That Witch next door. I'm so glad that you found our witchy, magical little neighborhood here. This is our 9th season of That Witch Podcast, and this is going to be our 5-year anniversary for the podcast later this summer, which is just really crazy, gratifying, amazing, incredible to think about. Man, let's just dive into a little hello and update, if you will. First of all, I've missed you too. I've missed Moonday as well. So, it feels like it's been, 6 months since I last talked to all of you. I last spoke to you here on the podcast way back at the end of November. And I learned so much this year, this past year, so much of the unsustainable practices that I experimented with, so much that I had to work through, work around, adjust, apply, take away, really was integrated for me over this last year, and particularly over these last few months, which was really, really amazing. Namely, something that has happened to me for a really long time since starting the podcast is navigating both the season breaks that we take and coming back from those and getting back into the swing of things. It's a little bit different with our other season break. We take about 2 a year, and usually the other one takes place over summer solstice area, and life is a little bit different then. During the winter solstice, during the season break in December, we also have the very westernized holiday insanity on top of everything. And some of that is good insanity, and some of that is not good insanity, to put it nicely. And I really gave myself permission to actually take a break during the season break. And that might sound a little redundant, but what has happened frequently in the past is there is almost no break that actually takes place on the behind the scenes back here in operations. Because what happens is, in order to prepare for the upcoming season, what should be a time of rest and taking a step back is just loaded with both some leftover catch-up work from busy end of season stuff and prep work for busy beginning of season stuff. And that is a particular challenge in January because first of all of December, especially if you're a caregiver or a parent, December is a psycho time. Now, particularly those last couple of weeks of December, we are all, myself included, very much in holiday limbo brain. As we close out the calendar year, there's a lot more social engagements. We do a lot more friend time. We do a lot more family time, both with extended family and traveling and video calls, and also family time, like here, our little unit here at home, family time. And what happens is that January comes around and it's okay, back to work. Everything's ready to go, right? No, nothing is ready to go because we've taken the end of December off, either physically, hopefully, work-wise. And usually, even if we can't take time off work-wise at the end of the year, we usually mentally check out, myself included. And so I'm mentally clocked out. By the time January hits, I think I'm not alone in this experience where the first week of January comes, winter break is over, and it's like, okay, why isn't everything ready to go? And it's like, on account of, actually taking a break. So this year was cool for me because I was able to give myself permission pretty quickly and pretty effectively to accept we break. And when I say we break, we rest in December. And that means that it is back to work in January. But just because it's back to work in January doesn't mean everything is ready to go. It means we start to get back to work in January. And that means that there are steps that need to be taken. So instead of taking everything in order to prepare for the upcoming season and cramming it into the end of December, or trying to cram it into the final weekend of December in preparation for the first week of January, instead of making the first week in January more of a living hell than it already is transitioning back into, real life, this year I was like, oh, January is when we transition back into work. And it's okay that podcast episode number 1 is not ready to go the first Monday of January. So it's been a really, really beautiful last, 6 to 8 weeks or so since I last talked to you. Lots of beautiful family time, really embracing the winter season here in New England for myself. Like, I'm taking my dog on daily walks and really embracing the natural beauty that is winter, which tends to be a little bit more challenging to do, depending on who you are, than our spring, summer, and fall months. And I really, really set my sights on embracing and being present in the winter season and winter magic this year. And let me tell you, it has been such a game changer. I recommended it before, but it was a super long time ago. It might have even been a year ago. I have been reading an incredibly helpful book called How to Winter by, and I very likely am going to mispronounce this, Kari Leibowitz or Leibowitz. I'm not exactly positive about the pronunciation of her name. This is not a witchcraft book. This is not a magic with a K book. This is a mindset book. This is a self-development, inner workings type of book for people who have been or are winter haters, if you will, or winter strugglers, if you will. And as a reforming winter hater myself, I checked this book out last year from the library, and it was so helpful right away that I ended up just purchasing my own copy. And I read through almost half of it last winter. And by the time I got to that point, it was becoming, if not already, spring, and I was kind of rushing and forcing. And I go, you know what? we can come back to this book next year, next winter. It will be here. Come back next year. And that's exactly what I did. And starting in end of October, beginning of November, I picked my How to Winter book back up again, right where I left off. It was amazing how much starting to read it last winter season carried over naturally already to the current winter season. And then picking up where I left off, it has continued to be absolutely transformative to me. I highly recommend this book to anyone who struggles with winter, has a challenging time. And honestly, I also recommend it to all of my winter lovers as well, just because it will help you embrace the season even more. Though this book is not written by a witch per se, I have found it incredibly seamless to infuse into my spiritual and magical practice and magical mindset. So it has been a pinnacle, honestly, for me in how much permission I was able to grant myself this winter to rest, take breaks, say yes to one type of activity, say no to another type of activity, really check in with and honor myself, my needs, the needs of my home here, my local community, right? That's what the seasons kind of do. The seasons really bring us into our home, into our body, into our local community, right? Because we're so impacted all together directly by the weather. And so it really, truly, I wanted to make sure that today I threw a shout out to that book again, and I have the link for it in our show notes below, because I'm not kidding. I cannot overstate how helpful it has been for me. And it is loaded with helpful information, great tips, realistic ideas, substitutes, alternates, things to keep in mind. It has made such a profound difference for me in these really simple ways. So I am coming off of so much benefit from really leaning into what winter means for me. And it has set me up to just feel so inspired, so refreshed, so ready to kick off this fresh, brand new season of that witchcraft of that witch podcast with you, neighbor. So with that, let's get into some astrology with each other. We obviously are not, we're mid-month with each other here. So I'm not going to use today to do a monthly overview for January because we only have a couple weeks left of January. I am going to do some important astrological highlights because there definitely are some. And we will still round out January next week on Moonday with our end of the month reflection and gratitude. I'm actually really excited for that episode with all of you. I think that first reflection and gratitude episode of our new calendar year is going to really set us up in a beautiful way, in a beautiful, centered, present place, moving into the new year. Now, we have so much Aquarius happening. Aquarius energy is here. Today is the first official day of Aquarius season. The sun will move into Aquarius this evening at 8:44 p.m. Eastern time. So depending on your time zone, this might actually be falling on January 20th for you for start of Aquarius season in Eastern time. And here in the States, this is technically falling on the end of the day, Monday, January 19th. Now, we already have Venus in Aquarius. We also have Venus in Aquarius. The sun is moving into Aquarius later today. Mercury is moving into Aquarius tomorrow on the 20th. And then Mars is moving into Aquarius this coming Friday, the 23rd of January. There is a lot of Aquarius happening. Pluto, our pal Pluto, is already in Aquarius, as we've talked about in the astrological community for quite some time now. This means that every single planet entering into Aquarius will be meeting up with Pluto right away, right at the start of their Aquarian journey. Currently, Pluto is at, this week, 3 degrees of Aquarius. If we're not quite there in our astrological studies with degrees right now, that's okay. All that 3 degrees means is that Pluto is in the early stage of the sign of Aquarius. So any planet that moves fresh into the sign of Aquarius, boom, Pluto is right there at the front door to greet them. Hello, welcome. Welcome to the gates of hell. Just kidding. So, I want to touch on briefly here, for anybody that needs some type of trigger warning when the conversation turns to sociological or political topics, this is the trigger warning for that right now. But I do want to touch on what has been going on in the United States. I'm not going to talk about any specific incidents necessarily. I do want to let you know, so as your neighbor, as somebody that you come to for magical, astrological information, guidance, education, I do believe in my heart of hearts that it is important to wear my ethics and my values and my morals on my sleeve. So while you may not hear me address specific instances, specific topics, name specific names, for example, on the podcast, I will remind you that every single piece of content that ever comes out of me and is produced by that witch next door is rooted in ethics, morals, and values. You don't find empty-headed, vapid, vain, shallow, surface level, magical and astrological information here. And honestly, I'm not even necessarily talking shit about that type of astrology and that type of an astrologer. I think that there's this lighthearted purpose that can serve, but we do the deep work here. We talk about truth here. And something that I do believe is beyond important is that wherever you are getting such profound sacred information like magic, witchcraft, astrology from, I encourage you to vet your content creator, the speaker, the educator, the instructor that you're getting that information from. And that means that I also have to be transparent so that you can vet me, so you can make sure that we're a good fit for each other. And if we're not a good fit for each other, that's okay. There's lots of other neighborhoods out there. I do want to let you know that this is a space where it will never, ever be okay for groups, branches, people in positions of power and authority to use that power and authority to harm, imprison, and unalive their citizenry. And I mean, I'm just going to flat out put it out there if I'm going to be honest with you. So I already said the trigger warning for anybody that doesn't like to listen about politics. Fuck ICE. I'm not going to beat around that bush. I've always felt that way and I always will feel that way. And I just want to throw that out there. That witch next door, that witch podcast, that witch school is safe space, safe, inclusive, welcoming, friendly, and accessible community. First, foremost, and always. And this neighborhood is led by and held by a fierce protector of those things. Yours truly. And anyone that I partner with, employ, work with is somebody that I have also vetted that aligns with those values. And anytime things continue to unfold and the way things develop, it turns out somebody is not actually aligned with those values, there is not space for them in this safe community. That is how important the borders of this community, the energetic borders of this community are to me. There are many people who are already excluded, already made to feel unwelcome, already ostracized, if not flat out harmed and exploited, that are in my community and under my fierce protection. And it doesn't matter to me what little teeny, differences and discrepancies that we have among us. There is a level of difference that not only are we going to have, but is encouraged, because diversity is an absolutely beautiful thing. Opposing forces, we even learn in astrology, is an important part of our learning journey as humans. It's a very important part of expanding our perspective, keeping our mind open, progress, continuing to move forward, heal, etc. And there are certain things that if we differentiate on, it means that we do not align in our morals and our ethics and our values. And that means that this is not the right fit of a place for you. I will also put this right out there while we're on the subject of all this and say, I do not identify in any way, shape, or form as a Republican or a Democrat or a conservative or a liberal. I also don't even identify as a libertarian. I don't identify as an independent or whatever. I am very, very, very anti-corrupt establishment in my home and in myself. And we are under a very corrupt establishment. So if that lets you know where I lie. But I am not a person who blindly subscribes to one or the other. And though at this moment, we have a president who subscribes to right-wing conservative Republican, I do not want it ever mistaken that I blindly support the left and liberal politicians either. And I want to continue being aware of, being honest about the broken parts of our system on both sides that continue feeding that broken system and puts all of the burden on us. That's where I stand. So again, I find it important to say this at least once in a while on here, because whether I'm recommending and referring you to learn about astrology or witchcraft from other practitioners and other content creators, or any other topic or subject for that matter, I am always encouraging you, make sure you vet that person. Make sure they actually align with your personal ethics, with your personal values. And my friend, I cannot advise you to do that if I don't show up transparent about those things as well. So to all of my neighbors who utilize the podcast and our neighborhood as a safe space and kind of break from the volatile energy that is mainstream media and mainstream social media right now, I get it. And that is why we focus on the core work here, because that's the work that I believe in the most. And at the same time, my friend, it is still my duty and responsibility to show up as an honest, transparent content creator as well. I cannot simply avoid talking about certain massive issues or values or ethics with I can't. I would be a massive hypocrite if I told you, hey, make sure that the person you're actually working with is someone you actually align with. And then I show up and say, oh, but I don't ever make that clear. And you always have to kind of guess, where do I stand on certain things? So again, I totally, as a parent, as a caregiver, as a neurodivergent mom, wife, human being trying to navigate this world, believe you me, I understand needing to take a break from the headlines and needing to take a break from spaces where there's arguments and hate. And I am a full supporter of needing those safe spaces outside of those conversations. It is also my duty to make sure that you are up to date on who I am continuing to be as a person and a content creator. And if for any reason these values that I have, that I've shared with you, just flat out don't align with you, they turn you off, if you think are wrong, that is okay. I promise there are other communities out there for you as well. There is always another somebody for someone, and that is okay. Now, let's talk about Aquarius. How Aquarius of us. That's exactly why I wanted to talk about that. As soon as I was preparing for the episode astrologically, I was like, yeah, we're gonna need to do the Aquarian thing and be straight up about this. And not only is that okay, it's necessary. There is something that I talk about frequently on many episodes, many different videos in my content, which is this idea of really sifting through and figuring out what are your ethics, what are your morals. I actually encourage you to start doing that more than the more surface level things like who voted for who. And I'm not just talking about Trump, by the way. I'm talking about in general. Who voted which color, red or blue, and making a decision based on that. Or any of these are very surface level, okay? They're surface level. The reason you even identify with a political party, for example, it has to do, and it comes back to ethics, because it's what aligns with you on a morality level, okay? And this is very, very necessary when it comes to energy work. If there is one like massive elephant constantly in the room when it comes to witchcraft, magic, astrology, divination, psychic work, any, dream work, past life regression, all of these, the occult and the metaphysical. One big massive elephant that is always in the room is that all of this industry has been branded as nonsense, ridiculous, and most importantly, a scam, right? All of us astrologers were a bunch of scammers. Here's the deal. Just as inaccurate as it is to say all astrologers are are scammers, or all psychics are scam artists, for example. All tarot readers are scammers. It's fake. It's fake. You're preying off of people's spirituality. You're preying off of people's vulnerability and beliefs. As inaccurate as it is to say this big blanket statement like that, it is just as inaccurate to believe that this is a totally innocent community and industry as well. There are actively plenty of content creators, practitioners, service providers, scammers that are out there exploiting your beliefs and utilizing this really important, deep, sacred relationship that you have to spirituality so that they can make money or so they can become famous and gain notoriety. There's lots of different motivators for people to do that. And it happens every single day. And sometimes it's really, really obvious. And we talk about that. Sometimes it's obvious. The people that literally are masquerading as a tarot reader, for example, right? And we've seen this for years on TikTok and Instagram where somebody, copies a profile, and this has happened to myself multiple times, and starts messaging your followers and offering them a reading and getting them to Cash App or send them money and totally scam them and rip them off, steal their identity. There's all kinds of stuff that happens from it. Those are the really obvious cases. And when we talk about the scammers in the community, the truth is that's kind of who everybody pictures. We need to talk about the people that don't identify as a scammer. They don't identify as an unethical person. And yet, you bet your ass, they are utilizing all of this information, these spiritual gifts, spiritual information for personal gain and personal gain only. And I see this a lot in the witchcraft community. I see this a lot in the astrology community. And I see it a ton in the overarching New Age community. There are so many fear-mongering gurus out there. I know everything. I have the answer. As long as you're subscribed to my email list, you'll always know. You'll always be in the know. As long as you subscribe to me, you'll always be in the know. You'll never miss this. Bad things won't happen to you. Only I have this direct link and line to this special alien community who I can channel information from, but only I can do that. And only I have the answers, and only I can interpret that for you. And you give me all your trust, and I give you a bunch of language and flowery fluffing up to make you feel really good in the moment, while really what I'm doing is taking and taking and taking. I have had the pleasure of getting to personally meet, I'm even friends with, a couple of very, very, in my opinion, legit psychic channels, including those that do communicate with alien beings or extraterrestrial communities. And I'm a believer. Here's where the line is drawn, though, and here's where I categorize and differentiate, is I vet that person's ethics. I listen to how they present the information. I listen to how they deliver the information. I pay attention to their pricing structure. That's a really, really big one. There is this kind of unspoken understanding that as somebody becomes more and more well known, especially in the social media spaces, that their prices go up and up and up and up and up. And it's fascinating because so many of those service providers get real loud about political activism. This is exactly why I want to bring your focus to the core, to what's beneath the surface of only keeping the conversation only about specific politics specific only. I want to hear your ethics. I want to be able to see if your actions and behaviors actually reflect your supposed activism. Because for many, it does. But there are so many hypocrites out there. And here's the deal, my friend. They don't know that they're a hypocrite. They don't identify as an unethical person. But I have come across many of these different service providers. And I am not a gal that comes on here and puts people on blast. I don't get involved in shit like that. So I'm not your person for that. So I'm not going to be naming any names. I will tell you, there have been several really, really big names in this industry that get recommended to me left, right, and the other. Oh, I'm finally working with so-and-so. Oh, have you ever seen this person? And as soon as I go on and start going through content, or I start seeing their offers come across my feed, how they structure those offers, how they deliver that actual information. And if you're paying attention to ethics and morality, it gets real easy, real quick to start seeing some misalignment. Interesting that you speak about something of such high value, sacredness, and sanctity and importance here, and yet I don't see that reflected at all in your business model. So I find it fascinating that you are on a soapbox at a podium, so to speak, talking all about breaking generational curses and progress and moving forward, and somehow also fully participating in and perpetuating and continuing very old, very outdated, very fucking icky business practices. So Aquarius, all this Aquarius energy that we are embarking in this week and that we will be in for a little while here, and as each of these planets make their way through the Aquarian gate and each of them meets up with Pluto, I want you to pay attention to the way people speak and behave, and how that actually reflects that person's ethical code. What I find really, really interesting is the sheer amount of practitioners that teach all of this deep internal work and don't do a lick of it themselves. They couldn't tell you their values. They couldn't tell you their ethics. They couldn't tell you their morality. They haven't even thought about it. This is why in that witch school, for example, my monthly magical membership, we have this beautiful, welcoming, friendly, and safe community. And do you know why? Because our community is rooted in ethics that protect the sanctity of that community. And one of those absolute pinnacles of that witch school is our shadow work. And every single month, twice a month, with the new moon and with the full moon, we get together with yours truly and we do some shadow work together, my friend. And we talk about what that moon might be bringing up for us at this time. We work through and sift through some heavy shit together, and we process it, we share it, we support each other. And then I offer an affirmation, a ritual, an exercise, a tarot card prompt that helps us work through what we're processing so we can actually integrate it as we move forward. We do active, regular healing work together. And I believe in my heart of hearts, it is one of the main reasons why we are so freaking blessed in our school community, in that witch school, because as somebody who has participated and engaged in many different magical, witchy, astrological communities all across the internet. I am personally floored often by how wonderful we have it, how amazing the people are on our Mighty Networks platform. And while I do believe I'm really blessed and really lucky, I also really, really believe that it is because I root so much of everything that I teach and put out there in ethics. And I think that even though that type of work isn't a flashy, sexy shortcut to getting your perfect dream ideal life, it is the real work, and it really does work. And I think that's reflected in the type of individuals that are attracted to the content that I make and the community that I provide. So I do want to let you know, as we go deeper and deeper into whatever this time in history is becoming and turning out to be, I hopefully see the beautiful dismantling of really exploitive spaces like meta communities, meta apps. I really hope we see the beautiful dismantling of that and the birth and rebirth of more and more intimate, smaller, focused, values aligned communities, just like that witch school. And I want you to bear in mind that even if you love me, that witch next door, that witch podcast, it's okay if that witch school doesn't happen to be your community. I still really, really feel that whatever fits best for you is out there. I'm just excited that we are starting to take those matters into our own hands instead of saying, well, what we've got is Instagram, so I guess that's where we're going to be. And it doesn't have, and instead we have a bunch of us going, you know what? It doesn't have to be that way. And I'm going to go ahead and create the space that I want to see in the world. And the most incredible thing that's come of that I've witnessed in that witch school is that has only inspired my students and my clients and my neighbors to continue that domino effect. Over the last, I would say 6 months or so, we have seen a surge in that witch school of student-sanctioned clubs. It's beautiful. We have so many clubs now. It all began with shout out to our wonderful neighbor Sheena in that witch school. Sheena, sending you all the love. And all the gratitude. It all began when Sheena came to me, and she was not the first student to come to me and ask about, have I ever thought about organizing a book club for that witch school? To which I replied, I love book clubs. I love the idea and concept of, I am in full support of book clubs. Me, the type of reader that I am, I'm not really great at being in a book club. My reading style is scattered at best. I don't do very well with book clubs, but I've always wanted to see it happen and take place here, but I don't necessarily have the capacity on my plate. You are more than welcome to start it and run it and utilize the platform as much as you would like to organize and run that. And it all blossomed from there. From there, we had also through Sheena and some of our other wonderful students like Caitlin start a weekly student tarot study club. That has turned into this like amazing little hangout and tarot encouragement space for a huge group of my students. And I think that group's only getting bigger every week, honestly. every single week on Thursday nights. It's gorgeous. Everybody meets up. I've been to it several times. It's very casual. It's very laid back. We have a spread that everybody pulls for. We give each other feedback. We give each other pointers, but it's also a place where we can vent about tarot. We can vent about life. We can vent about being a witch. In this safe container while helping each other continue to learn and to continue honing in on those skills. From there, we now officially have an LGBTQ plus allyship group and club in our school, which is just such a beautiful need that is being met. And I'm so honored that that has begun in our school and given safe space for any of our queer identifying and allies in our community to come together and show each other support and to continue helping, protecting and educating each other. We also have a small business collaboration. So any student that is starting up or already owns their own small business or startup, you can get together and help each other, which is something that, holy cow, is really hard as a solopreneur, especially when you are just starting out. You get to learn from other students who already have a little bit of experience, some who are just as beginner as you might be. It's a great place for, again, more feedback, more learning, more support, more relativity with each other. And the beautiful thing is that more and more clubs are coming. We now have an arts and crafts club. We have soon to be a paranormal club in that witch school. It's amazing. It really all began because we've been holding space in this community of that witch school, and it helps us visualize if we can engage in this, if this can exist, I can create that. I can expand that. We can do even more with that. And that is exactly what I hope so much this year's Aquarius season does for so many of us in so many more spaces far beyond just the reaches of social media, for example. And of course, by the way, if any of that sounds just amazing in that witch school and you're not already a part of it, make sure that you go to the show notes below. We have multiple plans to fit your lifestyle, your budget, your needs, and you can always send me questions if you ever need any clarification about our subscription or our plans or our features, anything like that. But I really did want to use this real life example of that witch school and all the progress it's had over the last year, particularly last 6 months, because it is so fitting for what I believe the purpose of this Aquarius season could potentially be and hold for all of us. We are not only seeing these planets meet up with Pluto in Aquarius. We already, at the beginning of January, we started out with a couple of different kazimis. A kazimi in astrology is simply a conjunction or a merging with the sun. So when we have a Venus kazimi, like we did, this is when Venus merges with the sun, or Venus is in conjunction with the sun. We also had a Mars kazimi. We will also this week have a Mercury kazimi on the 21st, and we will have our Pluto kazimi on Friday the 23rd. And can I just throw out there how, of course, that is, Friday the 23rd is going to be my 4-year anniversary since I stopped drinking. It's my 4-year sobriety date. It's my 4-year birthday, as we say in the recovery community. And I was, as soon as I saw that, I was like, of course I have a Pluto kazimi that day. So freaking beautifully aligned. Now, what this means is that not only are we really in our Aquarius revolutionary archetype right now, truth, illumination is on high. That beautiful cosmic flashlight that the sun is really shining down. And especially when it meets up with Pluto, we will very likely see, not just like on that day and leading up to that day, like we have been, but these effects will be very long lasting. potentially into months, if not years, quite frankly, since Pluto here is involved. This is a time we might really see some zombies rise from the grave. Like, we might really, really shed some light on our underworld, especially the most neglected parts. The darker the nook and cranny, the more untouched it's been for a long period of time, the bigger the illumination, or the bigger the chance that that's what's gonna finally go under the spotlight. This is a great time for being honest with yourself. This is a great time for getting really clear and simplifying it, because usually it is a lot more simple than we have been trying to over-explain and overcomplicate it to be. So truth is absolutely on the table, not just this week. But again, those effects I think are going to be kind of long lasting. The fact that this Pluto Cazimi is taking place at the same week that a Mercury Cazimi is, don't be surprised if you're also shared some truths with, like somebody finally speaks up with you about something, or you see somebody speak up for themselves about something. You might be the person that is finally speaking up for yourself about something, okay? Mercury really brings in that communication piece, okay? And Pluto brings in that underworld piece, that which we haven't been looking at. We thought we could bury away, for example. So I want you to really bear that in mind. Oh, it's time to start pulling tarot, and the tarot is getting pulled. So as I continue shuffling here and getting our tarot card and our oracle card ready, I want you to reset your energy a little bit, especially because we're talking about some big stuff and some of it heavy. So, roll out your shoulders, roll out your neck, stretch your legs and arms if you could. Whether you're sitting, you're standing, you're lying down while you're listening to this, do something physical. It could even be blinking your eyes open and shut really hard. Anything physical like that with the body helps bring us into the body, and it helps kind of shake us up out of any stagnant stiffness that we've been sitting in. If you, no matter what your position is, even if you're physically moving and walking right now, I want you to try and allow your posture to be as even and balanced as possible. I want you to allow yourself to feel both the left and the right sides of your body as evenly resting on the earth as possible right now. Really bringing the left and the right brain on board and in alignment with one another. You can even take some nice centering deep breaths, and feel free to pause this episode right here as well, so that you can really draw out this process if you need to. And whenever you're ready and you feel like you're in this nice grounded center space, I want you to open yourself up to any insights, any guidance, any messages that you may be needing or seeking at this time. All right, we have got a couple of fascinating ones here, and I just want to make sure, if you're watching the video, that I have the right page pulled up for our oracle card in our little guidebook. Oh, I'm so excited. Okay. For our tarot deck today, we are using a deck that was gifted to me by my mom, who does not identify as a witch, though she does have some magic in her that she doesn't always admit to. This is a deck from an independent printer that was selling through Amazon. I'll just be honest with you. And what they did was they took the Rider-Waite-Smith images. The Rider-Waite-Smith deck artwork is now in the public domain. And so this is why independent tarot and deck printers can utilize the Rider-Waite-Smith exact images. And then what they do is sometimes they manipulate the colors, some of the background, the style of the card to fit an overall theme for the deck. I have another one that's meant to look like really old and ancient and distressed. But again, the images, the actual illustrations on the card is just the straight up Rider-Waite-Smith deck. This is a cool deck. This is similar. Here's the back of the cards if you'd like to see. Oops, sorry, the ring light's really giving us an intense glare. There we go. It's a nice little triple goddess, triple moon symbol there. The whole deck is really rooted in black and gold. And this is why it's funny that my mom doesn't identify very magically, because she had no idea. She doesn't know much, if anything, about how much I work with Hades, and she certainly doesn't know any Hades correspondences. But two colors very associated with Hades are black and gold. And this whole deck, the blacks and the golds are what are really emphasized here. So for example, here is the King of Pentacles. I'll kind of like move this a little since that glare is super intense. The gloss finish on these cards is really, really, well, glossy. And so that's why the glare is so intense. But you can see that the background of the King of Pentacles is all black. Another example, here is our 10 of Cups. So we've got our traditional picture of the 10 of Cups card here, but instead of a bright blue sky behind our rainbow here, it's a black sky. It's really beautiful deck. The King of Pentacles nor the 10 of Cups is what we chose today, so don't get too excited. Just kidding. But right in line with what we're talking about today, what we did pull from the deck was the Emperor reversed, my friend. This is some corrupt leadership. Now, this is... Isn't that funny? Now, I think we've got some pretty obvious connections here, once again, especially based on what we started off our conversation with today, which is hilarious. But I want you to take the opportunity to do some of the own personal inner reflection. Remember that we're all part of the collective unconscious. We are all mirrors for each other. We all have an impact. And so when we all take a look at our inner emperor archetype, in what ways might it be a little reversed right now? Where are some power struggles and dynamics showing up? Where are some issues with authority and leadership showing up? Again, in your personal world. And then I want you to also, so that's kind of the micro example that I want you to explore. But then I do want you to compare and contrast that with the macro examples that we have at hand. And this doesn't have to just be specific to the United States, for example. We can look at this archetype of the reversed emperor in global examples, and also not just now in modern history. Maybe we look at examples of emperor reversed, corrupt leadership reversed in other past examples, other past civilizations, historically and even ancient history, really, really, really far back. This is the nature of Aquarius. Aquarius is not this, but this reflection that we're talking about. This is the nature of Aquarius. Aquarius is ruled by two planets, Saturn traditionally and Uranus modernly. And Saturn helps us reflect back and notice and look at patterns, how certain choices and decisions and behaviors of actions ended up resulting. What were the consequences? What were the effects of those things? How does that inform us as we make decisions in our now? And then Uranus is this planet of revolution. Again, analyzing power struggles and dynamics, imbalances in power, and what must come down in the name of progress and expansion. And this is why Uranus is very associated with lightning bolt kind of tower energy of, all right, This is, it's kind of a great example in nature, actually, of Uranus, and that tower energy is the natural response that Mother Nature has to invasive species when something is getting out of control. Right? Right? I want you to think about this. When our emperor is upright, this represents our inner authority, our inner leader. We are in, traditionally speaking, the masculine energy. Remember, not, male and female, especially in a gender or sex way, but in a much grander, broad view, which is what I like to say. This is our left brain authority, where I really associate the Empress card, kind of the companion or alternate card to this, kind of like same coin, different side. The Empress I really associate with our right-brained leadership, our right-brained authority. We are being asked to take a look at that left brain, the logic, the action-based, the initiator in us, and how that might be imbalanced right now. Where are you sensing and experiencing corruption? And again, I want to challenge you to not only focus on external examples, and I want you to do the internal work on this as well, okay? Now, let's see what our oracle card has to offer in support of this message. So today I wanted to work with the beautiful Oracle of Pluto deck, because I knew that Pluto was going to be quite center of this conversation today. Oracle of Pluto deck is an absolutely gorgeous deck written by a friend and colleague of mine, Aubrey Howd-Shell, illustrated by the beautiful Rose Ides. Aubrey has been on That Witch podcast. Make sure you go back and listen to her episode if you have not already. She's an author, she's a deck creator, she's an astrologer, she's a witch. The Oracle of Pluto deck is one that I have been using really, really intentionally with Pluto being in Aquarius. So much so that I have this beautiful little crystal UFO. It's selenite. No, quartz. I think this is quartz. Yeah, this is white or clear quartz. This is my little quartz UFO, my little alien symbol here. And this is paired with and lives with my Oracle of Pluto deck, because Oracle of Pluto brings in the Pluto energy, and the little UFO here represents and brings in the Aquarius energy. Now, just to absolutely beautifully support our message today, we got the Hippo card. Really fascinating. So what I love about the Oracle of Pluto deck, I want to make sure you can kind of see it here on camera. There we go. I think that angle is going to be good. So the Oracle of Pluto deck is a deck of shadows, shadow figures through hand puppets. So each card shows a set of hands making some kind of shape, and the light being cast upon that, and what the shadow that it casts behind it. And so this is where that Plutonian shadow darkness aspect really comes through in these cards. This is the Hippo card, and in the Oracle of Pluto, it reads, Hippo, meaning abundance, reaping rewards, and indulgence. A heavyweight in the animal kingdom, the hippo is the third largest land mammal, behind the elephant and the white rhino. The incredible mass of the hippopotamus represents the themes of abundance, expansion, and indulgence. And if you pulled the Hippo card, you are in the flow of it. This card will always be a welcome sight in a reading, as we should be experiencing abundance in many and maybe all areas of our lives. There is a jovial energy that comes along with the hippo, as we are deeply in the flow of gratitude when this card is present as well. You may be entertaining your every indulgence and rewarding yourself for all your hard work. Just make sure not to go overboard or to hoard all the good tidings for yourself. The hippo asks us to share our wealth, literally and figuratively, with those we love. After you've taken a moment to treat yourself, remember that you will eventually have to get to work again to create even more moments of abundance in your life. Further reflection. In astrology, Jupiter is the planet we look to for abundance. The house it sits in represents the area of life where we've always experienced a certain ease. Others may view us as particularly lucky in this area. The sign that Jupiter sits in points to the energy we can embody to kick in the Jupiterian themes of expansion, opportunity, growth, and good fortune. Locate Jupiter in your chart and research its meaning to further cultivate the energy of the hippo. So, when it comes to connecting these two, seemingly very different or opposing cards, right? We're talking about like corruptive leadership over here, and now we're like, what do you mean? Abundance and expansion. The connector here for me is this Aquarius concept that we're talking about and this Aquarius energy that we're in right now. Aquarius looks at the hard truths. And again, what must come down in order to expand and grow forward. First of all, this is a beautiful time for really anchoring in to the abundance that you have. And it's somewhere. This card is showing up for a reason. I also love that this card brought Jupiter into the conversation. Jupiter is at the center of my gratitude work 99% of the time. Jupiter is the planet where I really developed my personal gratitude work with. And it is in the work with Jupiter and gratitude that has opened my mind and perspective so much to the true meaning of abundance and a life of wealth. And I think that really recognizing and holding in that space right now is a very important piece of this deep and inner reflection, inner and outer reflection that we're doing on this reversed Emperor card, my friend. Big stuff today. Big stuff. Big first episode back, but god damn did it feel good. I've missed you so much. We will be back next week with more Moonday. Regular additional episodes of That Witch podcast are coming back very, very soon. We've got some incredible guests. We also have a new exciting series we are going to embark on together. And seriously, so much more. I am beyond excited for what we are already creating, what's already in the works for this year for the neighborhood. And as has happened every other year, I'm excited to see all of the unseen in all of that is to come as well, because there's always so many beautiful, unexpected surprises that come from this incredible magic that we create together. So neighbor, from me to you, thank you for your time today and every day. It means the absolute world to me, and it is what makes this neighborhood such an incredible place to be. Until I see you next time, make sure that you're out there staying safe. Don't forget to keep having fun and stay magical, my friend. What is That Witch School? That Witch School is my magical monthly membership that combines safe, welcoming, nurturing community with quality, ethical witchcraft and astrology education. This is like Patreon meets social media, but better. We have monthly calls hosted and guided by myself, as well as multiple instructors within our school. An incredibly beautiful and supportive community of like-minded witches, all built from the neighbors within our neighborhood right here. Plus, there is a just astounding library of resources and content that is always growing, and so much more. You can go back and listen to my episode on the podcast called Welcome to That Witch School 2025 for all kinds of details and information on the membership, the different plans you can subscribe for, pricing, and frequently asked questions, everything that you need to know. Or you can always send me a direct message or email if you ever have any questions. You can get my contact information in the show notes below. And when you're ready to join us, you can go to thatwitchschool.com and find the plan that works for you and join our magical community today.